Today's lesson objective is that all of my students will be able to discuss that understanding the left and right brain functions may help in improving one's learning, to explore mind mapping techniques suited to right brain or left brain dominant thinking styles, and make a plan to improve learning using both left and right brain development. It is amazing how the human brain develops and changes throughout one's life. From infancy to childhood, there are remarkable changes in the brain that influence the development of an individual. The brain of an adolescent is different from that of an adult, for during adolescence, the brain undergoes major transitions as it is a work in progress. Take note of that, work in progress. Compared to adult's brain, that of an adolescent does not grow much in size, but it continues to become more complex until the late adolescence. It is going through changes that have significant effects on the person's learning and behavior. Totoong nakakamangha nga ang utak ng isang tao mula sa pagkabata hanggang sa pagtanda. Naisip niyo na ba before how a human brain works? At naisip niyo na rin ba that there are certain things that can really impact the development of our brain, either bad or good things, depending on the environment we were brought up. One thing is great to know for sure right now is that kung ikaw ay nakapag-access ng recorded video na ito ngayon, definitely your brain is currently working and it is something we should be thankful for. Ang thinking development at learning ay mahahalagang parte ng personal development ng isang adolescent. Kaya naman, mahalaga ding maintindihan natin ang ilan sa mga kaisipan o pag-aaral kung paano gumagana ang utak ng isang tao at kung paano ito magagamit sa pagkatuto. Kasama rin sa pag-aaralan natin ngayon na ang pagkakaroon ng awareness sa brain-related theories ay maaaring makatulong para ma-achieve natin yung mas higit pang pagkatuto. So, are you having the learning to learn mood right now? In this lesson, you will learn the answers to the questions, why should I learn and how should I learn? Let's start. Brain lateralization or brain dominance theory. According to the theory of left brain or right brain dominance, each side of the brain controls different types of thinking. In addition to that, people are said to prefer one type of thinking to the other. For example, a left brain person is often said to be more logical, analytical, and objective, while a right brain person is said to be more intuitive, thoughtful, and subjective. The theory of brain lateralization was actually developed by Nobel Prize winners Roger Sperry and Robert Ornstein. This theory, as stated in the definition here, that each side of the brain has different specific functions. Habang ang mga tao ay gumagamit both sides, bawat isa ay may tinatawag na dominant side, which according to the theory, explains much about his or her behavior, interests, personality, and mode of thinking. At dahil dito, nabuo yung terms na left-brained and right-brained individual. Here are some characteristics of left and right-brained individuals according to the theory. Ngayon pa lang, isipin mo na if you are much more on the right or left brain side. Let me give you an example of a test for you to know a little more about yourself. Take a quick look at the photograph. Which animal did you see first? Now, let's see how your mind works based on which animal you saw first. If you saw the hanging monkey first, then the right hemisphere of your brain is more active. People with right brain dominance are said to be more emotional, swayed by feelings, and seem to view things and events through feelings. They look at visual references as a whole and then go through details. They are intuitive, believers of imaginations and fantasies, risk-takers, creative, and unpredictable. They tend to be disorganized, unable to make clear their priorities, and lack time management. This means that you are a creative person who is full of innovative ideas. When faced with a problem, you rely more on your instinct than on critical thinking. You know perfectly well that every step you take in your life is a lesson for you, and that even includes losing is a step toward achieving your goals. To you, the journey is more important than the goal. Since you are a dreamer, you often get lost in your own dreamland. It is important for you to get a reality check every once in a while and to pay attention to the world around you. If you saw the head of a tiger first, then the left hemisphere of your brain is more active than the right. People with left brain dominance are very organized, logical, and detail-oriented. They process ideas in a methodical step-by-step manner, and this enables them to commit less mistakes. They favor rigid schedules and deadlines. They are more auditory learners and are better at using words to remember things rather than visual aids. This means that you are an analytical person, very goal-oriented. When faced with a problem, you tend to be logical or reasonable, calculative, and objective. However, sometimes, because you know that the decision you made was made after a lot of thinking, you tend to be inconvincible, masyado kang insistent. So, it is advisable that you hear the opinion of others and take it into consideration too. Remember that a little humility goes a long way. Here are other personality traits of left and right brain dominant people. Body language experts believe that there are other behavior of a person that says a lot about the person you are, like the way you clasp your hand, which thumb is on top, left or right, the way you cross your legs, which leg is on top, and looking at an object and one closed eye, which eye is still open. Let's talk about the advantages and vice versa of the mentioned theory. It gives us a picture of how the two hemispheres of the brain distinctly function. It also provides an understanding of what areas an individual is naturally good at and those on which he or she needs to improve or focus. It is upon knowing to which brain a person is affiliated, he or she can think of ways to boost strength and compensate for weaknesses. On the other hand, being stereotyped or categorized as a left-brained or right-brained person may have a negative effect or may even hinder learning when this results in self-fulfilling prophecy. What is self-fulfilling prophecy? Self-fulfilling prophecy, a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true by the very terms of the prophecy itself due to positive feedback between belief and behavior. Ang self-fulfilling prophecy ay maaaring maka-impluwensya sa mga tao dahil sa sobrang paniniwala nila sa kung ano ang pagkakakilala nila sa kanilang sarili at base sa kinalabasan ng prediction or ng mga resulta katulad ng brain test kanina. There is nothing good or bad about either preference. Both orientations can be equally successful in accomplishing a single task. However, one may be more appropriate over the other depending on the situation. Remember that the two hemispheres of the brain do not work in separation. Rather, they work together and balance each other. So, while you may seem to possess more traits than you can identify with one of the hemispheres, you will surely also possess traits from the other. As a matter of fact, there is the counterpart argument to the theory of brain dominance. It is the whole brain thinking, wherein the two hemispheres of the brain are believed to work together as a system instead of in competition with each other. Remember that in every theory, there is a missing link, meaning it is not yet fully proven or there is still a missing piece. That's why it is not yet proven. It may help us solve things, but it is really not the solution. So whether you are a left or right-brained individual, there is no need to argue or compete with others. Just celebrate your uniqueness and your potential and continue to improve yourself. A key to growing the brain. Practice. Let's read together. From the first day they are born, babies are hearing people around them talk, all day, every day, to the baby and to each other. They have to try to make sense of these strange sounds and figure out what they mean. In a way, babies are exercising their brains by listening hard. That's why babies don't know yet the simple words we are telling them. Sorry, no, beautiful eyes. It's because their brains are just starting to be exercised. Later, when they need to tell their parents what they want, they start practicing talking themselves. At first, they just make gugu sounds. Then, words start coming. And by the time they are 3 years old, most can say whole sentences almost perfectly, as simple as, Mami, inom tubig. Once children learn a language, they don't forget it. Kaya let's be careful speaking words that are not appropriate to kids, especially bad words. The child's brain has changed. It has actually gotten smarter. This can happen because learning causes permanent changes in the brain. The baby's brain cells get larger and grow new connections between them. These new, stronger connections make the child's brain stronger and smarter, just like a weightlifter's big muscles make them strong. Meaning, the more na tumatanda ang tao, the more na mas nade-develop ang kanilang way of thinking. Kung dati hindi mo pa naisip na hindi pala nakakain ang daliri, well now you know because your brain is smarter than you were a child. The real truth about smart and dumb. Again, let's read together for better understanding. No one thinks babies are stupid because they cannot talk. They just haven't learned how to yet. But some people will call a person dumb if they cannot solve math problems or spell a word right or read fast, even though all these things are learned with practice. Sorry for the words, but please stop saying bobo or tanga because there is no one as such words like that. Ang kailangan lang ay practice. At first, no one can read or solve equations, but with practice, they can learn to do it. And the more a person learns, the easier it gets to learn new things because their brain muscles have gotten stronger. Kapag nasanay na tayong matuto, madali na lang sa atin ang makadiscover ng mga bagong idea and masarap sa pakiramdam ang may bago kang matututunan. The students everyone thinks as the smartest may not have been born any different from anyone else. But before they started school, they may have started to practice reading. They had already started to build up their reading muscles. Then, in the classroom, everyone said, "That's the smartest student in the class." They don't realize that any of the other students could learn to do as well if they exercised and practiced reading as much. Even the geniuses, nagsimula pa rin naman sila sa basic, hindi yung pagkapanganak sa kanila ay, aba, nakakabasa na pala ako. Remember, all of those other students learn to speak at least one whole language already, something that grown-ups find very hard to do. They just need to build up their reading muscles too. Kaya wag tayong maiinggit sa mga quote-unquote matatalino, magaling, mahusay, malupit, dahil lahat sila pinaghirapan nilang matuto at masanay. Even sa learning, it is a process. Hindi ito instant na overnight mangyayari agad sa atin. And it's not yet too late. Read books, dictionary, articles, read your lectures, and I assure you, your brain will get smarter than before. That is why I discourage the people I know na bumabad sa puro games, puro movie na walang moral lesson. As a matter of fact, every time na nagre-regalo ako sa aking mga inaanak, I always give books because I want them to learn. So, is there any chance for us to get smarter? Is it possible? What can we do to get smarter? Just like a weightlifter or a basketball player, to be a brain athlete, you have to exercise and practice. Walang inborn na magaling mag-dunk, mag-shoot, mag-dribble, tumakbo ng 40-meter sprint, mag-bike ng hindi sinisemplang, nang hindi dumaan sa exercising and practicing. Sabi nga nila, practice makes perfect. Also, by practicing, you make your brain stronger. You also learn skills that let you use your brain in a smarter way, just like a basketball player learns new moves. But many people miss out on the chance to grow a stronger brain because they think they cannot do it or that it's too hard. It is actually a problem whenever we think of a thing as too hard. Ma'am, hindi ko po kasi kaya. Ma'am, ang hirap naman po kasi. Well, give yourself a chance to try. Walang mangyayari kung hindi mo susubukan, sabi nga sa kanta ng Pepito Manaloto. Let me show you another powerful thinking tool. The Mind Map by Tony Buzan. A mind map is a thinking technique used to visually organize the information. It is a creative and logical way of organizing thoughts and ideas in your mind through a diagram. A mind map usually revolves a central subject. Major ideas in the form of images and/or words branch out from the main subject. You may think you haven't heard of it, maybe you are just familiar, so let me show you a sample of a mind map. Here's an example of mind mapping. Mind mapping helps to make thinking visible. Text, lines, colors, images, and symbols may be used to make mind maps. Mind maps can be simply done by manual drawing or sketching, or it can be created through more complicated processes using computer applications. Today, there are at least 2 types of mind mapping techniques classified through the ways mind maps are made. First, handwritten. These are the traditional mind maps made using the hands. Some suggest that this mind mapping technique better suits the left-brain people, as the handwritten mind maps are generally word-spaced and have less visual add-ons compared to their counterparts. The following are the advantages and disadvantages of making and using handwritten mind maps. Advantages or pros. There is a personal touch, uniqueness, and individuality as compared to digital or computerized mind maps. Products are basically unique and distinctively based on one style, design, and skills. It also requires only simple materials: paper, pencil, and/or colored pens. One can easily put on what is in his/her mind at the spur of the moment. Disadvantages or cons. There is difficulty when one wishes to edit or modify it. Handwritten mind maps can be less presentable. Number 2. Computerized or digital. They are modern mind maps generated through computers or other similar gadgets and computer applications. Some believe that this type better suits the right-brain individuals, as this allows much creativity and more visual accompaniments. The following are the pros and cons of creating and using computerized or digital mind maps. The pros. It can easily be edited, modified, and updated. It appears to be more formal and presentable in nature, as it can be used as presentation in formal occasions. It can be done easily if one is knowledgeable in computer applications. It may allow more information and details. The cons. It requires a certain level of computer literacy and knowledge on computer applications. It may not be readily available when needed, since it needs to be printed or presented using devices. Bear in mind that creating and utilizing either kind of mind map involves using the whole brain, both the left and the right hemisphere. Both of them may be fun and exciting to create, as they are similarly forms of self-expression. So, how can we make a mind map? Our happyschool.com suggests the following steps in making a mind map. First, decide on what type of mind map you will create. Some suggest that handwritten mind map better suits you if you are a left-brain person, and the computerized or digital type goes well with you if you are a right-brain person. Even so, a right-brain person may choose to make a handwritten mind map and vice versa to challenge him or herself in utilizing the less dominant hemisphere of his or her brain. You may use an 8x13 bond paper. Number 2. Think of the main idea for your mind map. The main idea or topic of your mind map takes the central part of your mind map. It refers to the topic that you want to explore. Example, you want to make a mind map improving your learning, attaining good health, getting over a breakup, anything. From this main topic, ideas start to branch out to complete a mind map. Number 3. Add branches to the main idea. The main branches refer to the key themes branching out from the main idea. After the branches, you can add some more ideas or subtopics by adding small branches or two. Number 4. Supplement with keywords. Every branch should be accompanied by a keyword so that several connections can develop. Keywords generate association in the brain, allowing a person to have greater retention of information. Number 5. Incorporate colors into the branches. Colors serve as codes and help categorize and highlight connections among the ideas. They also make mind maps pleasing to the eyes and attractive as compared to plain black and white diagrams. Lastly, number 6. Attach images. Aside from being interesting, images have the ability to express more information than just plain words or sentences. They are usually instantly linked to various concepts. When you see an image, your brain processes it immediately and allows you to think of or recall information much easily. Images reach out to everybody regardless of culture, race, language, and gender. Before I end this lesson, let me give you a food for thought today. The mind is just like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets and the more it can expand. By Idowu Koyonikan. Plutarch said, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled."